So today I'm holding what might be my new favorite gaming headphone, hands down. Bold statement, right? But Brian, I literally just bought the HD58X based off your recommendation. Relax, I'll put my money where my mouth is. We'll dig into it. I'll explain everything. You ready? Let's go. Yo, I'm Brian P. You're watching BadSeed Tech, and today we're taking a look at the Drop plus AKG K7XX open back headphone. So this is the drop-produced version of the AKG K702 65th Anniversary Edition. When you could still buy that headphone, it retailed for $499. This version we're looking at today is a $200 headphone for both the all-black edition and the black and red colorway. Now, if you happen to be familiar with Mito keycaps, Drop is also offering this headphone right now in a black and pulse blue colorway. It's available on pre-order. It's not going to ship out until the end of November, but you can get it for $180. But the all-black version and the black and red version are in stock and shipping right now. Ooh, and for transparency, Drop did send this headphone out for review, but as you should know by now, doesn't affect my review in any way. All right. Let's get cooking. This is an open back headphone that should look pretty familiar if you've ever seen the K6 or K7 series before. Visually, the build doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in terms of durability. This isn't a headphone that feels solid or substantial in hand, but it actually does stand up to some serious flex and retains its shape really well. It's light too, at 230-ish grams. The inside headband here is either real or faux leather. I honestly can't tell. It's about 1.5 inches wide at the crown, and there's no padding. It's spring-loaded like most suspension headbands would be. I obviously have no hair, and I find this headphone comfortable for really long periods of time. So if you have hair, should be good to go. Ear cups are round, open back, as I said, and done in a plastic mesh with small, minimal text. I think it's a great look, personally. Despite being round, they are visibly larger than something like a biodynamic offering. Pads, I love these. Black, velour, dense memory foam. Look at this response. There's no taper on the inside, minimal lining over the driver. My ears do not make contact with the inside of the driver, but both the top and bottom of my ear make contact with the inside of the top and bottom of the pad, so just be aware that internal diameter is about 60 millimeters. That said, we have a pair here that's super comfortable. It's a combination of lightweight, low clamping force, and these pads. I don't start shifting these around in my head until about the 4-hour mark, and they breathe great, so there's no heat buildup. You can replace the pads here, but outside of normal wear associated with long-term use, really not sure why you'd want to. This specific memory foam pad that's on this headphone has to be ordered directly from AKG. They cost over $90 a pair, plus $10 in shipping. Yeah, half the total cost of the headphone. You can get the highest end Donic hybrids for less than that. But again, very, very comfortable headphones here, minimal clamping force, and they don't require any time for break-in. Cable here is a 3-pin mini XLR, and it's unreasonably long. It's the Ron Jeremy of headphone cables. Straight rubberized cable that is just shy of 10 feet or 3 meters long. I opted for something just a little more manageable for desktop use. I'll link it in the description. I went with the rubberized 2-meter cable from New Fantasia. Works great. It's a shame too, because the stock cable is really thin and really flexible. All right, sound quality. This is why it's taken me so long to get this review to market. I've had these headphones for over 2 months, and people have been asking. I've had to constantly keep cycling between these, the DT990 Pro, and the HD58X. Let's start with music, and we are really gonna split hairs here. And this next piece may be a bit of a controversial topic, but I say burn these in. 24 hours, pink noise loop, about as loud as you'd feel comfortable listening to music. I feel like these got smoother and fuller the longer I tested them. So these were tested with both non-amped onboard audio and on the Mayflower Arc. I will say that like the 58X, you don't technically need a discrete amp, but I highly recommend one here. The overall sound here feels like a reference sound with a slight nudge towards musicality over analytics and a warmer bottom end than I would have expected. They don't do anything wrong. It's a solid, perfectly acceptable performance. They just lack that it factor that elicits passion. But they do get one thing really right, and that's Soundstage. These feel big, like you're sitting in the middle of the stage listening to a live performance. The highs aren't like drilling themselves into your ears, but somehow when they need to connect with you, they do. Not on the level of the DT990, which can go so far the other direction they can be harsh on the top end. It can be pretty unforgiving to certain recordings. And not on the level of the HD58X, which has beautiful detail and extension on the highs. I would say the K7XX has more air on the highs, where the 58X has more detail. But at least for me, the 58X slightly pushes that line where it starts to be a little too intense for me. Slightly pushes. Actually, we're gonna take the DT990 out of the conversation for music. I don't like the character of the highs on the DT990 versus the K7XX, and it lacks the warmth to really be a contender here. The fight for me is the K7XX versus the 58X. The mids for me are much the same. When you listen to a really textured male vocal like the Decemberist on the K7XX, it feels wider, further away, gentler, more front and center on the 58X. The K7XX has a solid, warm low end as well. So does the 58X, but I would give the low end nod to the K7XX, if even slightly. The K7 will even slightly pull down into sub-bass territory. Leave the bass boost or anything like that out of the equation. These are tuned low already, so anything like that just turns that whole bottom into mush. Overall, the K7XX is a more chill, relaxed, spatial headphone. The HD 58X is a more energetic, nuanced, intimate headphone. In terms of overall wow factor, my nod for music still goes to the HD 58X. It would be fair at this point if you were asking yourself why I haven't mentioned the 6XX, and here's why. If you feed the 6XX some power, what I get is a more analytical version of the 58X with less low-end presence and a reduced soundstage. It's very detailed, but to me, there's nothing fun about it. And in my opinion, there's better options out there for gaming, so that's where I land on it. I should stress here that I don't feel like it's a bad headphone by any metric. Not at all. It's just not my style personally. Now, gaming. I talked about soundstage. I talked about it being very big and very wide. So now we're talking about an area where this headphone is going to really shine. All that space makes for some really immersive gaming. Single-player experiences are really solid. The tunnels of the Metro felt cavernous where appropriate and claustrophobic where appropriate. The outside area is bleak and expansive. I always had a strong sense of where the NPCs were in relation to me, and the footsteps for stealth gameplay were on point. There were definitely times in Black Ops 4 where I knew, oh no, a dog is coming in fast and he's closer than the gunfire that I hear, and I had time to switch weapons and prepare and nail the direction. And then I felt horrible because I hate it when games make me shoot dogs. Thanks a lot, Treyarch. You monsters. So here's an important note. You don't sacrifice anything regardless of what games you play. It's not lacking in bass, so you're not going to lose the immersion of a single-player experience with the big explosions and the punctuated gunfire, but you're also not going to sacrifice any of the subtle footsteps, bullets, traps, chests, any of the sounds you would normally use to excel at competitive gaming either. It's so perfectly balanced. The only knock I have for this headphone is that in a few titles, your own footsteps become really amplified and really obvious as well. It doesn't throw off your game. It's easy to tell what's what. It's just a little annoying because generally there's not a lot of variety in that specific sound effect, so you just keep getting it over and over until you learn to tune it out. Speaking specifically in soundstage and imaging, the HD 58X just falls short versus this headphone. It attempts to make up for it in detail, but the K7XX just does a better job of painting the picture. It also exceeds the capabilities of the DT990. The only place where the 990 wins is in brightness on the high end, but again, with the K7XX, I didn't have any issue detecting what a sound was, which direction, and almost always how far away. I've gamed in the DT990 Pro a lot. The K7XX is just a better experience. Asking price here is still $40 north of the HD 58X. It's a solid $200. Like the 58X, it doesn't need an amp. Even when I do run it with an amp, I run it on low power. Without an amp coming off some dry, dusty onboard audio, you will still get the sound field and all the positional awareness, but I absolutely love it in game with a clean DAC and a discrete amp. So my recommendation has shifted. Just a bit. If you want to major in music, minor in gaming, and you're on a bit of a stricter budget, the HD 58X still gets the nod. In terms of music listening, the HD 58X wins it by a pretty wide margin for me. If you want to major in gaming, specifically competitive gaming, and a minor in music, and you have a little bit more to spend, the K7XX is it. Unless you have a specific need for isolation, such as a LAN party or a tourney, this is the best headphone I've heard yet for gaming. Simple as that. I don't want to play games and anything else. Big thanks to Drop for sending these out. As always, there will be affiliate links down in the description if you'd like to grab a pair for yourself. The all black ones we looked at today and the black and red colorway are available and shipping right now. There is still time to get in on the Pulse Blue colorway if you want to take advantage of that discount for the pre-sale, assuming you're the patient type, because again, they're not shipping out till late November. Any questions over anything I covered today, hit me up in the comments or drop by the Discord. And that's it for this time. I'm Brian P. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and until next time, stay up.